like the longer ones. I just like just sitting here and talking and not talking, and long stretches of not talking, maybe, or maybe not, maybe just talking. Um, I like that. I like doing them. I haven't done one in ages. Um, so as per usual, I mean, we're just talking about This-ness, Is-ness, Aliveness, energy. It's not a concept. You're not being asked to understand anything, know anything, believe anything at all. None of this is, you're not being addressed, even you as the individual. And that's what's at the heart of this communication. It's just a sharing and open friendship in which you can just ask anything about what we're talking about. Obviously, we're not going to meander into geopolitics really, because I just have no interest. And it's not about this communication. It's not, um, we can touch on stuff. It's not that I'm exclude people can say whatever, but this is just about aliveness and the sense that you're alive. And that's a really felt sense when you feel that you're alive. It's not an idea or a concept. Really, it's a really felt energetic sense that when you're thinking, when there is thinking, that you are thinking, or when there is an emotion, that it's your emotion, and so on, so on, so on, through everything, or even sitting in a chair, you really, there's this subtle sense that you're there. So there's always a sense that you're there. That is, so everything is kind of filtering through this you, apparently. And that's what we're going to talk about for the next few hours, is that actually there isn't a you that it's filtering through, and there never, ever, ever has been. But there's been the appearance of that. There's been the really lived sense of that. A really lived sense that I'm thinking, I'm feeling, I'm talking to you. You have a life, I have a life. I'm in control of my life. I make choices every day. I make big choices, small choices. They kind of direct where my life goes and how my life is. All of this is continually reinforced in the story, always, that you have a life, make the best of your life, live your best life, all of this stuff. None of this is right or wrong. It's just what's appearing to happen. And it can be seen, there can be an energetic shift where it's seen that it's all a narrative. You were always a narrative. You were always a story, you as an individual. And there's just simply, gorgeously, stunningly, ordinarily nothing appearing as everything. There's just what's appearing to happen. So there you go. You can't go wrong or right. Say whatever. Nothing being asked of anybody. You don't have to ask anything, say anything. But if you want to just jump right in, we'll see what happens. Appears to happen.
Kenneth, I think I missed you saying something at the beginning about payment.
Well, yeah, no worries. It's in the email there, because this is Patreon people at a certain level they don't have to, they can contribute if they wish,
Okay.
and then
I just
otherwise
saying,
it's.
I paid on made a contribution on PayPal.
Oh, perfect. Thanks so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's just I kind of I've had a lot of meetings where I haven't said anything, and then I go through it, and then I find there's a few people sneaking in. Of course, it's just life. It's aliveness. That's fine.
I had to let you know because I couldn't have you thinking that I've like
Yeah, I
criminally
know. No
your
worries. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's fine. No, everyone is good. It's just it's more really to do with, sometimes I have a lot of iPhones, and how do I know what an iPhone is or who they are or whatever,
yeah,
stuff like that. But you're all good. Yeah, no worries. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
likewise. You also mentioned the geopolitics.
Yeah,
What's so funny is that it's like how much opinion there is out there.
yeah,
It's like just a world of opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's right, it's wrong. They should have hit him. You know, they shouldn't have shot him. They should have shot him. Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a narrative. Yeah. It's all a narrative. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's increasingly polarized, obviously, and divisive. And this is another possibility this afternoon of the way of seeing that it is a narrative
and there's another.
instead of choosing, no, don't, this guy isn't what he seems. You have to vote or go for this guy, or whatever the issue is. This isn't. Then this is just another possibility that actually it's all a story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's another narrative that the world is less safe than it's ever been, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Panic. Everyone's scared.
Yeah, kind of fear porn has been building for years and years and years, really. Like, I mean, if it's a good way to control people is to have them constantly
Yeah,
afraid and also appear to control people. But um, also, you can bring in a lot of measures under an emergency. That's what it's all about too.
yeah,
Like.
yeah.
And they can't really be.
Oh,
That's the you usher in stuff in a crisis, an emergency, then that when it's revealed to be a crock of shit, then you can say, oh well, listen, guys, we did our best. It was an emergency. We were trying our best at the time. We did the best with what information we have, and it just goes around and round and round and round, and that's the way. And it's
I,
increasingly obvious to people. I think maybe I'm wrong, but
I don't think it is.
well, I agree with you too that the majority are totally asleep, but then. I don't know. Yeah, I can't back that up either. I maybe, okay. The way I talk about it is that it's all energy, right? All there is energy. If you
Yeah,
look at it this way, all there is energy, aliveness, and in this dream, then or in that aliveness, there is this dream that you're alive. So then there's this story of a dualistic dream of you having a life. A absolute central component of that is there's an authority that will look after you then.
yeah,
So that's why I talk about it here in the meetings is it's the suggestion there's no you and there's no authority either, and that whole energy of wanting to be minded and looked after by an authority is about your sense of separation. That's all it's about.
yeah,
That's what it is. So then when your sense of separation isn't there and there's no sense of being a you there, it's all a play of light or it's all theater then. So it's not
yeah,
about picking this guy over this guy because it doesn't matter. It's a play. It doesn't matter. There is no this guy or this guy, and there is no higher authority either. So it's a circus, and that's how it is. It's always how it's been.
I know. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious and it's not hilarious, and it just
Yeah,
is what it is.
tragedy as well. Yeah.
But I don't like. Yeah, maybe you're right. It's not maybe it's not anyway accurate at all to say that it's increasingly obvious. Maybe it isn't. I just think the way I describe it is it's if you just see it as energy, then it's just like a shift in energy. That's what it is. Apparent authority, apparently kind of the foundations kind of crumbling, and then
Mm.
as it does in any such similar scenario, same with someone, just if you see someone who's got control issues, as the control seems to slip away, the effort to control gets much worse, much worse. And so that's it. This is all a story, and in the story that's what we're seeing appearing to play out. But you're absolutely right, it's all a doomsday scenario of be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. But don't worry. Also, we have the solution.
I'll save.
We'll save you.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
all wow, great. Yeah, information and agenda are married together, but we're in the dream, dualistic dream. People think there's just neutral information coming at them, neutral information, and then they're discouraged from listening to certain information that doesn't fit the narrative, and it's incredible when I talk to people how they'll tell me, okay, oh, this is the way it is with this situation in this country, right? This is terrible, blah, blah, blah. So you'd say, okay, but have you thought about whatever? And immediately you can see it in oh, you're not one of those, are you? Are you one of those? And I
Yeah,
was like, well, I'm not anything actually, but you're spewing this bullshit at me, and it's all a fucking story. And and what I'm saying is, have you ever thought this? And what it is then energetically, what I feel is someone, it feels like someone's under threat. Their life is under threat, really. They feel if you feel it energetically, it's like their sense of safety of knowing that's what's real, is their sense of themselves. So they want to remain safe, that they're, no, this is the real thing, this is the real narrative, this is the authority that's doing something about it. And that other thing, I don't need to listen to what you're saying about that, because it's been debunked by this person and this person and this person, and they're the scientists, or they're the experts, or whatever they are. And you could apply that to all of the issues.
yeah,
And so you get very little dialogue. There's people are just fucking talking at each other, trying to overpower the other. Um, and that's what we see. It's just it's all energy. It's not good or bad or anything. It's just energy.
yeah,
It's it can't be any other way. It's just playing out like it does. What people think they know, they think they've arrived at from their own powers of deduction. And but mostly what people know is a bunch of bullshit that they've soaked up from an apparent authority and that will make them in some way keep them safe in the story. It's
yeah.
another way. That's another way of putting it. And it's amazing. Like, I'm definitely hearing a lot more people now saying it's not so much about, like, it's not about this guy coming in and taking over as, say, president, or this who's going to clean everything up. It's about seeing that there is no them. There is no authority. Stop looking for some fucking authority to come in and fucking save you. And I'm hearing that communication quite a bit now across loads of different areas. And it's got a certain energy to it then. I quite like hearing it. And and that's it. Like, it's this dream that you're in, that you're being minded.
Yeah.
Good guy, bad guy. Like, it's simple, dualistic, basic, dualistic dream stuff. Good guy, you're a good guy, you're a bad guy. This is the good guy, this is the bad guy. Play of opposite stuff. That's what it is. And then the media increasingly are either it's a hit job on you, it's a complete hit job. You're a piece of shit, and you're this, and you're this, and you have links to blah blah, and all the all the language, or else you're just amazing. There's no kind of gray. I've heard a lot of media people are talking about
You're
that
not
now. It's just,
until you're not amazing. Something happens, and then you're not.
then you just flip it over then quickly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah,
It's so quick to jump on,
very quick. Yeah.
kill people off, sort of thing.
Oh, amazing! Like that, like over just like that, just like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
there's a whole mechanism of information management behind that. But that's the way it is. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, yeah, if you express the wrong opinion, or you come down on the what's perceived as the wrong side of some debate, but I mean, energetically, that's kind of shifting as well, because some people now are kind of looking to people who are cancelled and saying it's like a fucking badge of honor now, you know. So it's kind of shifting a little bit, like, um, It's all control. I mean, the whole story of you having a life is one of control. Whether you look at that on what seems like a bigger level of, say, that controlling of a narrative in the media, controlling of uh, government overreach into your, into the minutiae of your life, or the control that you feel you have over your life. We're talking about the same thing.
Mm.
That's what we're talking about this afternoon. There's a really felt sense that you are in control of your life.
Mm.
It really is. It really does feel that way. It really, really does feel that way. It feels
Yeah,
like I'm in this job or I'm in this career and I can go here and I can go there and I do that. And I'm making the decisions which I then take action on and then it brings about a result. And this is my
yeah.
sense of control.
And I've either been successful at controlling my life or unsuccessful at it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
or I've made a success of it. Look at me, how great I am, or oh
Yeah.
shit, how bad I am.
Yeah, and both interestingly you say that both are the same, actually.
Yeah, it's a
Because
flip
it's
side of the
poor
same.
me is the same as I'm great. Same nonsense.
Totally, totally.
Oh, look at me. I'm a piece of shit. Nobody loves me.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, fucking boo-hoo. Oh, let's hear the violins. You
No.
know, our a narcissistic personality disorder is both twirling around each other. So someone who's narcissistic at the very, very core of it is a deep sense of unworthiness. The most, as someone said in, I think it was Oliver Sacks, maybe it was Oliver Sacks, a narcissist, the most important piece of nothing in the universe.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And that's it, yeah. This is very simple. It's so simple. It's so simple what we're talking about. That's the issue. It's so simple and ordinary and direct that it's just overlooked continually in favor of what could be, what might be.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as you and your life is just a story. There's no you there that has a life. So then there's this explosive, indescribable aliveness for nobody.
Yeah.
And it's an unloveness then what's appearing to happen. Even not saying too much or kind of a narrative, but it's there's just aliveness appearing to happen. And as opposed to when you felt you were alive, then it's the content of what's happening. It's, you know, whereas this is just the alive, as some people have put it brilliantly, aliveness is the treasure, whereas you're looking for the treasure. Aliveness itself is the treasure.
Yeah.
And we be it pain,
Yeah. Joy or
joy, discomfort, whatever.
depression, sadness, misery.
Sadness. We could just sit here all day naming stuff. And I mean, it's just aliveness. So life is a play of light or story in which life Putins and life Bidens and life Ukraines and life Israels and life, and that's the difference. Then is seeing it. It's there are no separate anything, no separate people. There's aliveness as that. Everyone is wrong is another way of saying it.
Everyone is wrong.
Everyone is wrong. Like the first thing that occurred here to me when this kind of happened was everything I knew was wrong, or a story, whichever way you want to put it. Like it
Yeah.
was just some sort of concept or belief that I'd taken on as part of my story of who I was,
Yeah.
and I would defend it with my life. Of
Yeah.
course, you know that expression, people defending something with their life because it's about their life,
Literally.
really. The belief, literally, they're literally defending their life when they're defending a belief system.
But it's all an illusion.
It's all a dream. It's all just a part. This kind of this kind of glue that's gluing this apparent you together, this kind of way of weaving yourself together through ideas and concepts and knowing, and this is this way and that's that way and boom, boom, boom. And that's total poverty.
Mm.
That's complete poverty. So that's what we're talking about. Whereas logically, the individual would feel that what if something's missing, it's about me finding something. That makes total sense. And
Yeah.
that's why people yearn, they search for either material gain and wealth, which is, not that difficult to kind of figure out after a while. Is, oh, I got my new bit of kit on this, or I bought my new car, and okay, it lasted a kind of a week. Um, Whatever it did, and maybe it's not material stuff I'm looking for, and then they think, well, it must be experiential or some sort of state, and then they could go down the spiritual rabbit hole or whatever. But actually, incredibly, what you're looking for is the reverse of what you think it is. You think it's getting something to fill the gap, fill the void of what's missing, and it's a loss of a sense of you, total and utter poverty. Everything is lost. And then in that, there's just nothing, and nothing is everything,
Yeah.
which is what there always was, or is. Hi, Fergal. Hiya. You're muted there, I'd say.
Hey, Kenneth. Yeah, I took me a while to unmute myself there.
No, you're fine.
Bit slow today.
I know the feeling.
Very slow today. Um, what's always a bit of a conundrum is I don't know how many times I've heard, what you're looking for is your own absence.
Yeah.
That's been heard. Um, I couldn't even tell you how many hundreds of times here. Um, but there's a big difference between hearing it, understanding it, and being it, I guess. Um, and I guess it's not. And I'm kind of thinking aloud here. It's not like it's a leap to anywhere. Apparently, in fact, it seems to be the opposite. Um, and it's just it's weird. The frustration levels grow and grow when the me is obviously a bit more obvious. and you know, whether it's events going on in the life or whatever. And it's obvious that it's even obvious to me right now that I'm being ruled a little bit by, you know, other stuff that's going on in the life. And that's dictating how I feel as me, shall we say. But yet that veil, while it may be thin and it might be obvious, there really isn't. Well, I don't know. As far as I can see, there is absolutely nothing that can be done to lift that veil. It's just not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, there can't. If there was something that could be done, then there would be a you there that could do it. The sense of being a you or an individual is just an appearance. And what's being looked for, like there's different ways of putting what you're saying there. You're looking for your own absence. In another way, like as with a lot of this stuff, we could say one thing and someone could come along and say, well, no, it's actually this way. And you go, yeah, it's this way and that way. You know, like he could say, well, you're not actually looking for your own absence. It depends what you mean by you, because you, the individual, really is just being an individual and is only interested in being an individual. But what's really being yearned for is to not be an individual, which is what you are already. But it doesn't matter, because you could get bogged down in the semantics of that, and it just doesn't matter at all. But the point really is that it's that knowing that there is no you makes no difference whatsoever, because knowing is an aspect of feeling like you. So it's not knowable what we're talking about. It's just what is, appears to be, or whatever words you want to use. It's so immediately, directly, whatever is appearing to happen, it's unknowable. But your sense of knowing it is from your sense of feeling separate. So there's an abstraction then and a knowing. So any kind of knowing around this is totally and utterly irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, totally and utterly. Yeah. There's no such thing as non-duality. There's people who describe this what we're talking about way better than I can. Not that there's a better or worse or whatever, but they have all the lingo and language, and there's clearly still someone there, apparently, someone there. This is energetic. It's not about knowing. So that's what, like, what we're hitting on here now is this is utterly maddening and frustrating to the individual in general. I mean, this is so confronting. And what do you, like, the individual is so accustomed to being able to do something or not do something, to be heard that there's no you that can do something or not do something is just like a punch in the face.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's like that's being heard, kind of saying what I said earlier. That's been heard so many times, but it's clearly not being heard somehow.
Yeah, well, being heard, what I hear you saying there is being heard, is been heard intellectually or conceptually, or you know exactly what we're talking about. Do you know? But that's what I mean. It's not to do with knowing, it's to do with the lived sense that you feel that you're speaking, that you have your hands behind your head, that you're thinking, that you're feeling some sensations in the body. That's either there or appears to be there or it doesn't. So
Yeah.
knowing that you're not, it's like I don't like to say, it's like someone experiencing problems with alcohol, knowing that they're experiencing problems with alcohol. In the story, sure, it's like, oh, that's the first step or whatever. But I mean, there's how many people have you met can play that game? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
do you know, and that's not really what it's like either. It's because it's not really like anything. In a
And I
way.
guess the even more frustrating part can be, at least here, there's been periods where at least it was felt that there wasn't a self, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
At least that was the sense that there was. Whether that was bullshit or not, I couldn't tell you. Um, but certainly that was the felt sense, and yeah,
Well, it's
uh,
not up to, it's not, nobody can tell you whether that was bullshit or not bullshit. You know, like it's like someone interpreting your experience. You know, I mean, that's nonsense too. Like, it's your experience. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like that, I sometimes hear people doing that, and maybe in a way it's kind of what I'm doing, but it's not what I'm doing, but what I'm saying is I'm offering an alternative way to see it. Not I'm not telling people, well, that experience isn't really about that. For instance, someone has an awakening and thinks, oh, this was Satori for me, and then me jumping in, kind of saying, well, it wasn't. It was whatever, you know, da 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 da. Like, I mean, that's obviously nonsense because it's not. Everyone describes what's appearing to happen for them. And how can someone else come in and say what it is or it isn't, you know? But this is just a sharing of another possibility, and that possibility then is to see that actually it's nothing happened,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? That's what it is, really. Yeah.
And what's interesting too is sometimes this message can be hilariously funny, you know,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
and you're kind of nodding your head as the stuff's going along, you know, and it's going, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you know, you're laughing where maybe is it appropriate to laugh or whatever. But like,
Or inappropriate to laugh.
all right, yeah.
Even better, Fergal. Inappropriate to laugh.
But then you know, there are just time periods where it's like none of it's funny and none of, you know, there's
Oh
no,
no, no, this isn't anything at all. It's not
yeah,
anything at all. It's absolutely not anything at all. So you know, another way of saying that is it's just what it appears to be as well. It's not anything. So then when someone says this is a load of bullshit, and you'd often hear me say, well, that's what's appearing to happen, then so it's a load of bullshit there for whatever or whatever whatever way. Their last video there, someone had a go at me, and apparently that's what appeared to happen, but that's what it is for them then.
yeah, yeah, of course,
You
yeah.
know, so there you go. Well, then it's not, there's nothing to defend, is another way of kind of saying what I'm trying to say. There's nothing to defend here because it's not a belief system. So when if it's funny, it's funny. If it's boring, it's boring. If it's not anything. It's just it's not anything. Anything I try to say about this communication or this, there's not even a message. There's not even a message here. There's no such thing as non-duality. There's just simply what's appearing to happen. And anytime once we try and pin it down, that's not it then. You know, we could say, oh, this message is thing. Oh, well, that's not it. You know,
Wait,
just like aliveness, it's the exact same. It might as well be talking about, I might as well be talking about, well, life. Well, life is whatever. Or is it? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it appears to be sometimes. You can't pin it down.
all of that, yeah, yeah. And maybe that's it. The me just absolutely wants to pin whatever is happening down to something.
Oh, everything it wants to, it lives in knowing, the sense of it wants to know that, and you know, and then every kind of apparent engagement with this suggestion is going to be different than depending on energetically some sort of kind of readiness, which isn't yours, you know. So everything, anything, people like I know some you could listen to this once, and that's it. But you know, just a sense of it doesn't you don't even have to listen to it again. And then there could be some sense of listening to this and just not being able to listen to anything else. That's very common. Like people for years and years, it's I don't have any interest in any other. So I listen to this speaker, this speaker, this speaker, whatever, and I just can't listen to anything else or anything in between, you know.
Yeah, it's a real mystery. Yeah,
And mostly discarded and ignored and nonsense. And kind of a sense of, well, where's the proof for this, what he's talking about? Like who else is talking about this? And what lineage is this guy in? Like who was his teacher? Who was the is he, you know? it's so gorgeous to me. It's so gorgeous. Like people just in this dream of authority and knowing and wanting to verify things and have it verified by some expert or some authority that, and then it's okay, then it's good, then it's, oh, how many likes has he got on YouTube there? How many? You know, because
Yeah.
it's all just this continual reinforcement of knowing and reinforcement of the dream of the separate you that can be safe from a world that's outside of you.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, man. I'll let other people jump in.
Yeah, it's nice to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Oh, Kenneth, I should have also said, come on, Galway. Good year,
Ah,
lad.
Galway Boo, yeah,
Two finals.
yeah. Two
The
finals?
hurling and football, right? Gaelic.
Yeah. Oh, the two finals this weekend.
Well, you're in both finals, yeah.
No, we're not.
Thought you were, no?
No, you're not following the hurling very, very closely. It's a massive final with Clare and Cork, my
Oh yeah,
friend.
I know, yeah. But you're in the football final too, aren't you?
Yeah, but it's football is Galway and Armagh.
Yeah. But you're in both. You're in both All Ireland finals.
Yeah,
Unless I
I
completely lost my mind.
no, but
Hurling
hurling.
this weekend against Clare.
No, you're missing it again. Cork.
Oh, sorry, Cork. Yeah.
So who's in both All Ireland finals then?
I thought Galway was in the hurling and the.
Clare versus Cork hurling.
Oh,
Galway versus Armagh football.
right. I have it wrong then.
You have it arseways, my friend.
Oh, it's Cork that beat Cork that defeated
When was the last time that football a county was in both? That's interesting now. That's a
Cork
long time ago. Cork, yeah.
Cork 2000 or even 90, 97, 98 maybe.
And I don't, was it ever, did they ever win both?
They might have done.
You'd have
Maybe
to go to Google for that one now.
98 perhaps. 97, 98, yeah.
Maybe,
Sorry, I had that completely wrong, yeah.
yeah, no, Clare and Galway were no good in the hurling this year. No good.
Right.
And we have a cracker with Clare and Cork. It really should be a fantastic game, yeah.
that Cork, the Cork Limerick game was, I don't know anything about hurling because it's not played in Meath really so much, but that seemed a cracker of a game.
It was good. I was at that actually, yeah.
Oh yeah, oh wow,
Mm, it was a good game, yeah. Actually, the hurling, you can't beat the hurling. Come on.
incredible
Best
sport.
game in the world.
I have to agree with you.
No,
You know,
no doubt about it. Not even up for debate.
meanwhile, everyone else is
Yeah, yeah.
what are they talking about?
Well, they probably do because I've mentioned hurling a few times, the Irish sport of hurling, which is probably well over 3,000 years old, they reckon. Did you know that? I didn't know that actually until
I didn't
recently.
know.
One of my kids asked me how old is it, and I thought, oh, probably a couple of hundred years, and I, of course, Googled it, and it goes back to Iceland actually, and that's what would have spread down through what you have in Shinty in Scotland and all that.
Oh wow,
Yeah, yeah, very old game, yeah. And
interesting.
the fastest team field sport in the world,
Oh yeah, for sure.
without a doubt, like way faster than the next one.
To be honest, it's a better game than Gaelic football these days.
Not even up for debate.
Yeah, I agree. No,
I'm not that much, not much of a fan of Gaelic football, really. It's all right, like, but no, it doesn't compare.
no, it doesn't.
Most people kind of agree on that, though. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go away again. Thank you.
Go away and do some research next time.
Apparently, I'll have to.
Apparently, yeah. Oh man, who gives a shit, you know? I don't care. I don't care about all that stuff.
Good.
1990, yeah. That's some feat. 34 years ago. That won't be done again. Sorry, just reading a comment.
Yeah,
It's
you're
for
right.
people who are wondering what the hell am I talking about. Yeah, so that's crazy. Teddy McCarthy would be well known down in Cork then. I mean, that in essence, that's what like we see two teams go up against it, and there is a winner and a loser, and we put the boundary of time around, and we put a mechanism of scoring in which to measure who wins and who loses. and it's a game. It's a story. It's a game. That's what it is. It's just a game, literally a game. And that's then we think we take it seriously, and we feel there's a really felt feeling that it's real, it's really happening, and this one won and this one lost, and that's the same with aliveness. Everything that appears to be happening feels absolutely real, and it's like a bunch of guys bring a bunch of guys in and then divide them into a red team and a blue team, and they're all friends coming in, and then fast forward a little bit and they're trying to fucking kill each other. And then that's the sense that we've othered. They're othered. They're on the other team, and then in the what we see as the story, then that's the way it is. Then as human beings, what we appear to do to each other, we'll kill each other because that's the other. They're the other. That's what we see as the dualistic dream of this fractionalized, separate reality of othering, and we'll be unimaginably cruel to each other because they're on the red team, I'm on the blue team. And we must win at all costs.
Actually, it's funny what you said there, Kenneth, about the teams where it must win at all costs. So this is a bit silly, but like, so could a non-dual person be a professional boxer and box the head off somebody?
Yeah, well, anything could appear to happen because there would be no such thing as a non-dual boxer, and life would be boxing. You see? So boxing would be just a thing that would appear to happen. So it's very simple what we're talking about all afternoon. So it's too simple, right? So there's a character, let's say Tyson, and Tyson boxes. So there's a sense of feeling like an individual, a separate person who has a life, and their name is Tyson, and they are the ones boxing. Then there's no sense of that. It's just aliveness happening, and aliveness boxes. And it would be seen that there never was a person that's yeah, of course. You could apply that to whatever, anything. And when that appears to happen, that sense of a you that's doing something, um, often the thing that appears to happen doesn't even change. It's just the same. It just appears to continue as before, frequently, and then you'd hear the opposite of that. Then also that people just whatever that was appearing to happen just totally collapses. Marriages collapse, jobs, careers just gone. Cannot do it anymore. Can't do it anymore. Can't do it anymore. You know. And neither matter. It could be one or it could be appear to be one or appear to be the other. There is nobody doing anything. Aliveness is boxing the ears off you, but you're so stubborn. You're not going to give in. You're in the good fight. You, as in the individual. All of the knocks that you're getting, you think it's life not going your way, and it's unconditional love inviting you to see you don't have any control. You're not there.
I mean, it is like sports people who are at the top of their game. They're not thinking. It's just boom,
Mm.
the flick of a hurley or whatever.
Yeah, there's just happening, but there's a lived sense of adding themselves to it in everything. It doesn't matter whether they're top or bottom or middle or beginning or whatever. And that's just how it is. But in many endeavors, like you say, like sport or like in a lot of movement appears to kind of maybe a little bit interrupt the sense that it's your body so much. That's why people can find movement very interesting, or if they feel they're really getting stuck emotionally, mentally, whatever, and they find like it could be as simple as someone go for a walk. It's just energetic. Of course, there's nobody doing that, but yeah.
Yeah.
And we all at any given apparent day, we all are not don't have a feeling of being there, but it's just not recognized. And the predominant overriding sense is that you are there, that you are talking, and
It's just so messed up, but you think you should know when you're there or not there.
yeah, you would think there'd be, and sometimes there is this recognition of that, which I would then call a glimpse or an awakening of like it's just I've heard this so often from not even in this area too, different areas, people talking about there was just suddenly there was just what's appearing to happen or whatever, and then what you then hear is kind of overlaying then some concept on that. It was God, it was Satori, it was blah 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 whatever, and their interpretation of it then, and it's like it's just undeniable. It was like just explosive, and often people spend the rest of their apparent lives, they don't, but trying to figure out what that was. What did I see? What was it? Got a taste of it. But often there's not energetically. There's not even just. There's just because you're not. You see, you're always not there. It's only energetically you appear to be there. So sometimes there's just not that sense, and then there is that sense again, and there's not any kind of noticing really of any kind of differentiation or difference or whatever way you want to put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just I keep coming back to it's just ludicrously simple. That's like the individual is just continually, constantly rejecting it. in favor of their idea of what they're looking for. Rejecting is, oh, now I feel like shit, and now there's this thought, and that upsets me, and oh yeah, okay, so that's not it. It's when this, it's when I don't have this, it's when I get there, it's when I make this money, it's when and it's just like, think of that narrative. It's just it's a loop. Just whoa, 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 whoa.
That's unavoidable.
No, it's unavoidable. There's nobody doing it, but it's just, yeah, it's just what appears to happen. But what I'm describing is the energetic sense of feeling that this isn't unconditional, boundless wholeness, appearing as a fear, uncertainty, whatever. It's when that fear and uncertainty is not there, because it's just a lived sense of being you. There either is or there isn't. And liberation is guaranteed, like, because all there is liberation, and we're all going to die. So there you go. Like what we're talking about has nothing to do with you, or what, and you can't imagine it. You couldn't imagine. You can't imagine what you're looking for. It can't be imagined. It's just immediately, directly, whatever is appearing to happen, and has nothing to do with the way you think you are or should be or whatever.
Just
Fergal, are you?
have a question, perhaps. Not that anyone needs to hear it, but
Fergal, you can jump. Anyone can jump in and say whatever, because amazingly, you're not even talking.
there you go. See, I'm not here. I'm here.
There you go. There's just talking. So I mean, it's not as if someone is talking and you're barging in and saying, "Hey, hang on a second, I'm going
Yeah,
to talk now."
so true. So true.
People are very happy to hear people make comments and talk or whatever. So it's all good.
What would be your feeling as to where the contracted sense of self resides in the body, if that's even true to you?
I've always described it as a cellular thing. That's how I've felt. It's a cellular contraction, energetic cellular contraction. Like, and so it's an embodied sense that you're in the body looking out on the world, and you know, that's how I describe it, yeah. Because it's obviously the body's made up of, people what would be described as a collection of cells, so it doesn't reside this. If you feel separate, then it's an embodied sense, the whole embodied sense of feeling separate.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
not.
like a really, it's a it's like a tension or a restriction or a kind of a, you know, really a tightness that's this me, and a lived sense of being behind the eyes, then looking out. You really feel you're meeting other people. They have a life, you have a life. Just feels absolutely real, yeah.
Mhm.
Then you have the brain, which is like the um, has a big role in the function of the narrator and the story and everything. I used to know off the top of my head, off the top of my brain, all of the different areas that were affected. Because for instance, with psilocybin and other psychotropics, that's kind of shut down. So there's a sense of you being a you, a separate you, isn't there. So that's why a lot of people are intrigued by them. But I would still describe the sense of being separate as an energetic cellular contraction in the whole body.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, there's loads and loads of information about how that drills into great detail about of how the story of you is maintained and what different parts of the brain are involved in that and so on and so forth.
Just another rabbit hole, huh?
I know, but
Oh,
if it interests you, it is like if it's interesting, it's interesting. You know what I mean? There's definitely loads on it.
yeah.
But you're kind of back to, yeah, in a sense, it's another rabbit hole in the sense that like there's loads I've heard of loads, I've read and listened to lots of people who would describe themselves as either scientists or an interest in science that describe how there's no individual, there's just no you there, and almost every time then they speak to the you that can do something with that, or what that means for you that there's no you. I'm obviously paraphrasing or whatever, but so again, it goes back to what we were saying before the break. Knowing that you're not there doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely got down rabbit holes of, listening endlessly to Ramana Maharshi and other, God knows whatever list of not non-dual speakers per se. But the me can't help itself but do that.
It's not even really happening. So
Yeah,
makes
but then
no difference, makes no difference whatsoever if you're listening to um, Ramana, or you've got the news on, or it's just another thing that appears to happen. The difference would be, or what you could say about it is, if someone felt that it was somehow significant that they're listening to Ramana, and Ramana is going to bring a clarity that could bring about the end of their sense of separation, that's a story. And that's just from the sense of a separate self who can do something to bring about its own absence.
sure, my
Just
sense.
just what's appearing to happen doesn't matter.
Sure, yeah, yeah. The sense here is, yeah, you're kind of clinging to maybe listening to more Ramana will finally get you over
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
line,
yeah. Get you over the line.
so to speak. Yeah,
Get me over the, yeah.
but then I always end up coming back to listening to speakers that I like to listen to. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like here, there was loads of people. Oh God, the list is very long that I listened to. And when I heard you talking now, going back, well, it doesn't matter how long ago, but when I first heard Tony Parsons, it was the first clear message I heard. And it was all energetic then. You know, there was all these people that I enjoyed listening to, and some of them I really liked the character, I enjoyed the character, and I could just tell the difference straight away. There was just something different. Now, I didn't
yeah,
know what that was until later on. It took me a few months at least to figure that out. But it was fundamentally one was speaking to me and the other wasn't. You know,
I,
the clear message wasn't addressing me at all, and it was seeing it didn't see a separate me, and all I was unconditional love or wholeness or whatever. And energetically, there was a sense of dangerous boundlessness to that, whereas the others were clearly just talking to me,
I
Ramana, whoever else, you know.
yeah, Ramana, yeah. Yeah, and it's the same here, I guess. I listen to some speakers, then I just go completely off them, and I couldn't tell you why. But it's only afterwards you kind of it tweaks as to why, perhaps,
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. I do, to be fair, the uncompromising ones are definitely where I tend to end back. Um,
Yeah, so it's all energetic. So all there is aliveness and energy, and if you find yourself listening to whoever you find yourself listening to, and that's just what it is. It's like there, you know, logically, you see, this is not logical or linear, or for the individual, the logical thing would be you're going down the wrong track. Like if you're listening to these certain people, from the individual's perspective, I mean now, because listening to the right people will get you there, whereas this won't. But actually, there's no there to get to. So there's just aliveness. So if that appears as listening to some teacher or even calling someone your teacher, it's just all energy aliveness as that. Obviously, clearly, it's a dualistic dream, but there's no you that's taken the wrong path. And when the sense of the self just isn't there, what's very obvious is that there was never ever a wrong path. There was never a wrong turn. That all of that, torture of searching couldn't have been any different. It's just whatever it was, or maybe not torture, whatever it is. But there's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, go on.
I completely hear that, and there's been periods wherever here in the past or whatever where that no one's been here for sure, right? Which is probably what keeps me coming back, keeps me coming back and back and back. But then there are periods where there's nothing but judgment going on.
Yeah.
Oh shit! If I hadn't done that, and that.
Yeah, story, rah, 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 rah,
Yeah,
rah, rah, rah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's aliveness as rah, rah, rah. So the individual, the apparent individual, would feel that, well, if the if I drop away, the rah, rah, rah has to stop. So it puts in a sense of conditions that when the rah, rah, rah stops, then I'll be there, and then I'll see that this is wholeness or whatever. So there's a rejection of what's appearing to happen in favor of what could happen. And actually, there's just rah, rah, rah. There's just whatever's appearing to happen. There's just thinking, sensations, whatever, aliveness.
Yeah. But for
And that's
now,
the scene. It's immediately, directly whatever is appearing to happen. Of course, that's rah, rah, rah. So energetically, that's a sense that it's your rah, 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 or there isn't.
it's so bloody frustrating. Sorry.
Oh yeah, and
Oh,
it's incredibly frustrating for the individual. It's just I don't think there's any other like this is the most dreadful communication for the individual because it just gets to it just becomes more and more obvious. There's nothing I can do here. There's nowhere for me to go to here because yes, of course, because there's no you. So the frustration is it. The last fucking thing the individual wants to hear is the frustration, is it?
yes.
So it will quickly, energetically go to the well, drink from the well that says, oh, okay, frustration. Oh, this is how I dealt with frustration, and this is how my frustration left, and this is blah, blah, blah. It's so seductive going to again, then you're into following some teacher, blah, blah, blah.
The second I hear that kind of stuff, I turn it off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And that's very that's the way it is. People energetically just get a sense of they just feel when they're being spoken to, and it doesn't. It could have been everything to them, like it could have been just everything, like having some teacher and she's so amazing or he's so amazing, and it's just everything to them, and then it just all falls apart. Just seeing that it's not. It's all a story. That's why you frequently hear a clear communicator talk about how disappointing the communication is. Of course it is. Has to be,
Mm-hmm.
for the individual, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, there's just everyone is kind of, as an individual, just muddling along, trying to do their best. And if that's holding someone up as a teacher or some institution as some sort of then that's what's appearing to happen. And mostly there's a being lost in that sense. There's a sense of yearning that there's something missing, but there's just a sense can't put my finger on what it is. And I don't even consciously think, like most people don't even consciously think that there's something missing. There's just this drive and a yearning, and it's playing out like it is, and they think they're living their lives. Some of them quite happily, maybe. And then for others, there's this sensitivity, you know. And a sensitivity and an openness to another possibility. And that just plays out like it does. There's just immediately whatever's appearing. So when this is shared like this, some kind of question can bubble up, or a comment or something, and it's not. There's no you that it's bubbling up for. There's no you that's saying, "Oh, I, I'm not gonna say that." There's no you. That's just what's appearing to happen. Or if it's said, or there's a comment said, or there's a question, there's no you that's asking that question. And the possibility in this meeting, parent meeting, is that it's something other than just the question, the answer, the question, the answer, the question. It's not about knowing. It's just very, very simple. There's just aliveness, unknowable, indescribable aliveness, nothing being everything. That's total free fall.
Why is the individual so afraid of aliveness?
Because it's the end of me. So the full on free fall is the end of me who is alive, because it's just aliveness then. There's just aliveness then. There's no me who's alive. And so desperately the individual is maintaining a sense of me who's alive. There's life and me with my life. So I would rather be comfortable in my version of the story of life than for there to be no me and there just to be full on life.
I guess in a way, maybe it's with all glimpses that they're immediately hijacked by the me as an experience that me just had, and therefore the aliveness is not seen as just aliveness.
Well, the apparent individual will, there'll be a glimpse and they will come, they appear to come back. They don't really, but they appear to come back and try to understand and know what happened to them. So then you have an experience and an interpretation of that, which most of the time is, some concept of something reinforced. However it is, whatever the story is, doesn't matter. It's essentially the suggestion that something happened to me because of whatever, and it's consciousness and it's awareness and it's da 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 da. But fundamentally, it's that something happened to me and I saw oneness or whatever. And it's very, very few communications then that come in. And the other possibility is actually nothing happened to you, but the sense of you just wasn't there because there is no you there. But the sense of you appeared to come back, just appeared to, that's all. And that's what's appearing to play out.
Yeah.
So, of course, like the individual can do nothing more. That's why when it's shared like this, like the individual can do nothing other than try and understand what we're talking about and ask questions. What else would it do? Try and get something from the meeting. That's totally, of course. That's what the individual does, and that's part of the communication. Then is that's appearing to happen, but it can just be obvious that there's nothing to get, and just a because there's nobody being fed or being acknowledged. So that's why the vast majority just move away from this, don't either reject it completely or try and know it and engage with it in a way that they're not hearing it anyway. and move towards or move back into a communication that validates them and validates that there is something they can do to get somewhere. And I got there, or someone else got there, or this great master or teacher, they speak from this place, blah, 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 whatever.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Okay.
Hi. Who will be someone else coming in there? I thought
Going, just talking.
you're breaking
Can
up.
you hear me?
Oh, I think so. Speak for a while there. You kind of broke up a little.
Sorry.
No, you're kind of
Okay, sorry.
breaking up every
So,
second word. Can't hear you at all now. Nothing. Nada. Zilch.
Okay.
Have you bad reception or something?
Yeah. I'm just in a little low spot, I think.
You can try again, maybe one more time, but
Can you hear me now?
I think I can. Yeah, maybe give it a go now and we'll see.
Okay, I was just going to say, when the sense of me drops away and you have an apparent glimpse, what do you think? Or what's your feeling about why it returns? Why does it come back in some and then falls away completely, apparently in others?
Because there would only be a why for the individual, because the why is from that there is meaning and things are happening, really happening. So there has to be a meaning as to why things happen then.
Yeah,
So that would only be for there's no why to
yeah,
anything. A why, like a reason for thing and some sort of meaning is all just an aspect of this dream of you being an individual who's apparently living in this reality of time, space, and causality. So that's where the meaning comes in, and the why, and then the why can only ever be an abstraction. It just feels like this being separate. It's like it's just this energy that feels so constricted and tight and real, and then it can just there's no me, and then it appears to come back, but that sense of being a me isn't never really the same. And then it can appear then to kind of appear to come and go and come and go, and that could appear like that for the rest of that apparent life, or it could be a matter of anything, apparent days or weeks or months or whatever, which sounds so cruel to the individual, but that's the way it is.
yeah.
It's nearly always though nearly always appears to come back. This story, it's like it's just too much, like this cellular just explosion of there just being aliveness. It's almost like it's too much for this organism, and it just appears to come back and then just kind of play out then as it does. And then when it appears to come back, there's about a gajillion different communications and ideas as to what happened to you that are there to tell you that something happened to you. So every which way you look, you'll have some guru or teacher telling you what happened to you. And then this isn't so common then that there's a communication that said there are no teachers, there are no gurus, there is nothing to know, nothing happened to you, because this is nothing appearing to happen, then there is no you.
You don't get a taste because you're not there, are you? So
Yeah. Like any idea anybody
thanks.
has, nice to speak to you, Richard. Yeah, any idea you have of this is just that, an idea. Nobody, this is completely just a sharing from nothing. There's nothing known here at all. And if there's, as far as I'm concerned, any clear communicator, if they're any way clear and uncompromising, they cannot know what they're talking about. Because once they know, they're speaking to somebody then, which is the complete opposite of what we think or what we are accustomed to. We're accustomed to listening to someone who knows something about something. If you know something about it, then there's an idea, it's a concept. It's just utterly simple. Like another thing you hear me say a lot, right, is there's no such thing as non-duality. Really, I really mean it. Like, so if someone is in this area for a while, like sometimes years and years, and of course all of these non-dual concepts get kind of, brought on and kind of adopted, or I don't know what way you would use say it, but believed in. I don't know, but like it is what's being talked about has nothing to do with any idea of a thing called non-duality, because it's just there is no such thing as non-duality. It's nothing to do with knowing. Non-duality to me is a religion. It's just and it's ever increased. It's getting more and more popular. Just like say awareness became present awareness and mindful awareness. I mean, sorry, being in the present mindful awareness, and then this is another thing that comes along, just slotted into everything. And people who are in non-dual states and all this absolute raw mosh and rubbish, and that's the way it is. It's always going to be like that. It's nothing to do with anything you can imagine, and it has nothing to do with you, the way you think you are, the way you think that other people think you are, the negative ideas you have or feelings you have about yourself, the positive feelings. It has nothing to do with you at all. It's so unimaginably simple and directly whatever's appearing to happen, which is all embracing of everything. Everything. Of course, because it's wholeness, boundlessness as what appears as positive and negative. Is there any heaviness of a past there? Absolutely none. No, completely, totally, and utterly gone. Because the sense that there's a heaviness of the past is from the sense that there's a you, and then the past is a real thing, and the future is a real thing, and the moment is a real thing, and whatever. Because you feel real. So it's if you feel like an individual, it would not be thought that what happened when I fell off my bike when I was 10 and I broke my collarbone, it's a real, there's a solidity to it, like an island in some ocean that I could go back to. It's just there. It happened. It's real. It's a timestamp. And when you don't feel separate anymore, you can't really imagine it. It can't be imagined what I'm talking about because it's too simple. And but then the realness collapses. So there is just that thought of maybe an image and a thought or whatever, however you want to describe that, of and the sensations maybe and feelings that go around that, of crashing a bike, pain, shoulder, collarbone, and narrative around that, what that was. And that's instead of being real, it is then a story. So it's the difference between real and a story. And if you feel that everything is real, it's because you feel like you, and there's a subject-object dynamic, which is that you can only see something, an experience, a state, a thing, a tree, a partner, a son, a daughter, whatever. A thing, it's a thing to you because you're a subject. Everything is real. And when everything is real, it's a sense of it being, it's dissatisfying. It's not, there's something about it that just doesn't, of course there is, because it's a half alive thing, because you're seeing something and no thing can't be seen. It's impossible. Can't be. So there's a dualistic dream of something and nothing, life and death. And actually there's simply nothing being everything. There's not nothing and everything. There's not life and death. You know, this big black blobby thing called death. Whoa. There's not life and death. There's just energy, which is nothing being everything. Not two, which is what's pointed at through most of the major texts and everything. Not two. There's not two. One. Advaita Vedanta, not two. One. This is one. This is everything. So what we were saying earlier is the same. The way I put it there is exactly the same. You're not looking for something. It's actually for nothing to be seen, nothing, and that's nothing is seen by nobody. So when that sense of being you isn't there, then there's nothing. Everything is empty, totally and utterly empty, empty and empty. This is the empty fullness then, that is boundless, whole, unconditional love. Whatever words you want to use, doesn't matter. And the past, like the sense of there being a past, a future, is that cause a linear dream of you having a life. That's the way it feels. It feels like you're moving forward in your life, in life, relating to other people. Yeah. So time is just an appearance then when you don't feel like an individual. So formless energy forming. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like this, you're not going to understand any of this really. You could understand it, but the understanding isn't of any significance. This is about something immediately, directly, simply, whatever is appearing to happen, ungraspable, unknowable, and inescapable. Just this. It's too simple. All of that stuff, the void, formless form, blah, 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 all of this stuff, that's what it's pointing to.
Yeah, and it sounds often so like so beyond and so fancy and so
Yes, yeah.
it's like that it's like just this very ordinary whatever going on, and it appears to be like, or it's like often imagined that it is some, I don't know, like some cosmic thingy going on or whatever.
Yeah, it sounds esoteric kind of, doesn't
Yes.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like, and when we talk like this, it can sound like that. Definitely.
Yes,
Right?
yes. And
It's not
also,
at all.
no, and it's like for example, you and me, we are just like very ordinary people, and it's like also all the other so-called speakers, they are like just normal people, like they are not special, they don't have some, I don't know, fancy capacities or abilities, and it's like that's like all, it's so, yeah, so human
I
also.
do have a couple, but I prefer not to talk about them.
Hmm?
I do have a couple, but I prefer not to talk about them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. A great
downplay them,
dynamic.
Laura. I downplay them because, you know, they make me look special. No, you're absolutely right in what you're saying. It's the collapse. It's essentially it's the collapse of special, not special. That's what
Yeah.
happens. So that's what we're talking about. Is the apparent collapse of you is the apparent collapse of a dualistic dream in which there's special and not special,
Yeah.
ordinary, extraordinary, life, death, blah blah blah, whatever. You know.
Yeah.
Special is there. It's so gorgeous. Absolutely. It is so beautiful. That part of what we're saying is so stunning and was so stunning to me that there's nobody. There is nobody. There's nobody special at all. Nobody.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
such bullshit. It's total fucking bullshit. It is
Yeah.
absolute fucking bullshit. And if you're seeing special and you think there's someone special, it's out of a sense of separation in
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
you are in a dualistic dream. Simple as that. Look at all the bullshit we're subjected to. Turn on the TV and listen to this fucker here and that guy there, and the big crowds listening, and oh, this person said this and this person said that, and blah blah blah, and see the absolute neurotic sickness of it. It's absolute complete fucking madness that we do this. We know it is, but we do it anyway. They
Mm.
go out to see, you know, he went past me in the parade and I got to touch his arm. Oh, fucking hell, it was fucking amazing. People are, it's just, the fuck are you talking about? Like, they're in a dream. It's a fucking dream that they're
Yeah.
special. Or this famous person, oh my God, I was in the airport and I saw them and I nearly fucking lost my life. Wow, so you saw this person in the airport and, oh, they do movies and, oh, wow, that's amazing. It's complete fucking bullshit, the story that we're living in. It's all that we appear to be living in. It's totally and utterly empty. It's just a story. This is nothing appearing to happen, for God's sake. For God's sake. For God's sake.
It's good when you occasionally, I don't know if this is called swearing, but like kind of
Yeah, no,
apply a bit of
I don't swear
rough
because of the
expression.
algorithm on YouTube. I very rarely use bad words. I'm very careful about my language. I would challenge you to see one of my videos where I swear on YouTube. Yeah. No, listen, it's so beautifully irreverent.
Yeah.
Irreverence, you know, that's what I also loved about this. When I heard a clear communication, how gorgeously irreverent. Because who's there to be reverent to?
Yeah.
Who are you being reverent to? Someone who knows something? There's nothing to know. What? Some teacher? There's no teacher. Speaker? There's no speaker. What are you talking about? It's all nonsense. It's all a play of light. It's just a story. There's nothing to believe in. There's nobody to believe. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to know. There's just aliveness. Unconditional, boundless, wholeness, whatever word you want to use. It's very simple.
Hi, Kenneth.
Richard, hiya.
When the me drops away, what is it that remains? I hear there's a sense sometimes that I've said this to someone. It's almost like a wish for some kind of suicide, almost.
No, that's all. So there's no me,
That's
right?
just,
There's no me. There's no individual. There is no individual. There is no individual at all. There isn't at all, except there's energetically the appearance of a me, right? So the me doesn't really drop away because the me is already not there. So what appears to drop away is the sense, the energetic sense of being a me. So the amazing thing is that nothing changes. This is the massive, massive shock, is that nothing changes because everything was always just a play of light. And that, but this sense, the additional sense of there being this me just isn't there anymore. The difficulty with that is, one of the difficulties with that is, you cannot imagine that, because you will, as in, if you feel like an individual, I mean, but you, of course, you will try to, and you will try to think what will be different, da, 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 da. But anything you come up with is just an idea or concept. It's so utterly simple. It cannot, you've heard this so many times, Richard, someone saying, I cannot describe to you how simple this is. I cannot describe to you how ordinary it is. And it had nothing to do with my idea of the me dropping away, the blah, 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 blah. It's too, there's just already, you didn't ask that question there. You didn't say anything, but speaking appeared to happen. But then from what you say, maybe there's, I can deduct that there's a sense that you think you're saying it. Maybe. I don't know, because I can never see. If you rang me up tomorrow and said, Kenneth, can I have a word, and we chatted for a while, said, no, I get what you're saying. I don't feel separate anymore, blah, blah, blah. There would be no difference here. Be like, yeah, okay, that's what's happening. Because I could never see life just Richarded anyway. You know, so the endless rabbit holes that the individual appears to go down are just, I mean, that's what happens. Of course, it's not it's not wrong, or of course, it's not bad, doesn't mean anything, but it's not understandable. It's so simple. It's just, and also listening to what this person says and what that person says and what the other person says, but that's just what's appearing to happen to them, or that's just what's appearing there. There is no other person, so it doesn't matter a damn what they're saying, really. This is just all energetic. It's just immediately what's appearing to happen. That's why you'd often hear a speaker in a meeting who would say, someone will come and they'll say, oh, well, Kenneth, or someone else says this, or maybe not me, but say, Tony says this. And if it's a clear communication, there'd often be, okay, yeah, let's just talk about this then. Let's just talk about this, just this now. I don't give a fuck what this person has said or didn't say or whatever. That's the immediacy. It's just here. It's just this. It's not about, It's unknowable and inescapable. You're not going to drop away because you're already not there. The sense of being separate might appear to stop, and then it's seen that, oh, okay, wow, I really thought I had a life. I really thought I was living my life. I really thought this. I really thought that. Blah, 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 blah.
does the rah 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 still happen? But it
could, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything could appear to happen. This is the difference between it being your rah, 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 and there just being rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Yeah. Anything could appear to happen. Of course it could. But why not? Because everything is just unconditional love. So say someone had a thought of, I'm crazy, and it was very upsetting for them, like an obtrusive thought that just kept coming, and say they didn't feel separate anymore. So they just didn't feel separate anymore. what would be quite amusing is that thought would arise for nobody. And it's just like that's what we're talking about is the difference, which is unimaginable, of a sense that thought is my thought, and they're just being that thought. I mean, so fucking what then? It's just another thing that's appearing to happen. But of course, then energetically, the rah rah rah, of course, it dies down massively, because energetically, the rah 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 is you just continually feeding on, going around this loop. Of course, it does, because there's the neurotic dream of you interacting in the world and living your life, and interacting with other people and so on. There's such a neurosis around that. Like, I was talking to Richard. I hope he didn't. Oh God, did he think that I meant this and by that, or does he think that I'm? It just goes on. I'm just picking your name as random as we're talking. But this is the way we behave. What did they think of me now? I hope I made a good impression on them now. I wonder. It's fucking endless, endless. There is nobody. There is nobody. So when your sense of separation isn't there, anything could appear to happen because it doesn't matter. But that neurotic, lived sense that you're interacting with another, and that just so the noise can go like whoa, like, and then then the degree of noise doesn't. It just plays out like it does. Just plays out like it does. But the individual would imagine. Of course, the individual can do nothing else but imagine it would be the end of this. This wouldn't happen. That shitty feeling just couldn't arise if I'm not there anymore. So it's just, again, the individual in this being this dualistic dream of pulling it. This is it and that isn't. This is it and that isn't. This is it and that isn't. Well, give me more of this and less of that. So on. Continually fighting with what's appearing to happen to maintain this in the sense of what should be or could be. Or might be, or whatever. No worries, Kelly. Nice to see you popping in. Chat to you soon. Kelly's on the way out of the meeting. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, like that, it's so simple. Like you didn't ask a question there. I didn't answer the question. I don't know anything. I don't have anything that you don't. No speaker has anything that isn't there. Nothing at all. No special knowledge, nothing. There's no such thing as non-duality. There's no teachers, no speakers. There's no only just in the appearance. That's all. Just the appearance. That's all.
Yeah.
And it's, what I find interesting is that, let's say for example, it becomes even more obvious what I, so to speak, actually really enjoy. It's like, for example, I'm sitting here watching the flowers, and so this is like for me highly, I enjoy that. And somehow previously there was like, it's not only that, let's say, what sucks is more like, it's like there was also a movement here I was so strongly seeking that I could not even, like, what I actually enjoy could not
Yeah.
enjoy something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of understand. I think I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was such a strong energetic movement in a way that this was
Mm.
like not also not the pleasurable parts, so to speak, were not seen.
Yeah. Would it be kind of like how people think that they should be doing things?
Yeah, yeah,
Is it kind of related to what you're saying? Like, I know for here the character was certainly kind of doing things because it thought that it was the right thing to do or something, or
yeah. I
to
have
keep
actually
people
noticed.
happy a bit, like, as well. And then
Yeah.
you realize, what the fuck am I doing? I don't even want to be doing this.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, I think I want it, but I
Yeah,
don't even really want it when I.
yeah, yeah. It's like a sold rumor, right? You're,
Yeah,
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 yeah. Mm, yeah.
yeah. That's it. It's kind of similar to what we were saying earlier this afternoon, was a sense that people have all these belief systems that they think are their own, they believe they've arrived at.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just some, s- it's just some narrative you've taken on because of the way you think you should be.
Yes.
Are fundamentally often as well because it's the right thing to do and it makes me look like a good person or
Yeah.
puts me in the right camp. So, and this, you can see this so clearly now at the moment, is with all the virtue signaling and things, like people are falling over themselves to kind of show that, oh, I believe this or this, because they perceive that they're in the dream of good and bad, and that,
Yeah.
and anybody who says different, they're a bad person then,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
whatever, similar. But anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Also,
was today reading, I tried to read the newspaper,
yeah.
which which I stopped after 3 minutes probably, when I was thinking of about how you describe this whole I don't know, this whole game, because it was about the elections in France, and then it was about whatever was going on, like and it was like this whole thing, we need to cancel immediately you, because you
Hmm.
don't even ask you what you really think or how you see things. It's no,
Oh
we,
yeah, but it's gone so polarized now that people, like, have you noticed that there's very little debate now anymore? So instead of saying, um, get so if there's some issue, right, and
yeah,
there's two opposing arguments, so what they'll do is, instead of actually engaging with the other side and say, well, let's talk to them and see what
yes,
they're saying about it. So so what they do is they just say, and this is what they think. And they
exactly,
misrepresent what they think, and they say, well, they would think like that because they have links to da 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 da, and it's all this straw man tactics and all these tactics, but it's the same fuckery that's always been there, really.
yeah, yeah,
And once you see it, then that's it's just obviously a story, a narrative. That's all I got to say about it, really. Like,
yeah,
but it feels it's exactly the same thing, though. You feel real, you have a life, then you feel there's this whole thing is just, it's not a play of light or a story. It's really real, and that's, I don't know what more to say about it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not a, it's yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's theater. It's theater.
Totally, totally. And it's
Just
always the
theater.
same show in a way.
Yeah.
It's always the same show.
Same
Yeah.
show and different characters
Yeah.
seem to change, and then it appears that there's a left and a right, and if you go, you have to go this way, not that way. They're the problem, but then
Yeah. Yeah.
nah, I know. So that's like when you don't feel like separate anymore, the seriousness just collapses out of everything because the realness collapses out of everything, and it's just a play of light and it's a narrative. So there's always someone vying for your attention with some agenda for you to believe something or not believe something else. And the world is just full of bullshit, really. It's mostly bullshit. I mean, but we know this anyway because we can see that the boundless greed of corporations and um, it's not, it just is what it is. That's the way it is now. And a constant message that to make your life better, really you should be driving one of these Volvos because that makes a statement about who you are and whatever else, just endless.
And the boundless greed of corporations is the boundless greed of the individual.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about. We're not talking about two different things here.
It's
We're
just a
talking
way of
about the story.
the me of structuring itself to fulfill its greed.
Yeah, like that's what we see in the world as boundless greed because it's out of a sense of separation that cannot be filled or no matter when there's a sense of separation, no matter what you like, what was that story that Tony Parsons told it, the bottomless bowl of separation, which illuminates perfectly what we're talking about. So the bottomless bowl, he tells a story about the king who had this chap said, I've got this bowl and you've never seen anything like it, and it's the bottomless bowl of separation, and whatever you put into it, it will never be full. So it's just he puts in everything and everything disappears and the king is just amazed and he puts the whole and everything goes in. And that's what it is. When you feel separate, there's a sense of a yearning that you feel that if you just get this or that or have that experience, then you'll be there, but it will never satiate because
it's just consuming,
impossible.
constantly
Yeah,
consuming.
constantly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, the big joke is what actually you're looking for is not to have the bigger yacht than the other guy and have another yacht and have another $1 billion, whatever.
Oh, I'll have that.
You'll give
I
that
like
story a
sailing.
go.
I'm saying.
But is
Like
to
boats.
actually not be you. That's the big joke. And to not be separate. But it just plays out like it does, and we'll see what appears to happen. All right, guys. Thanks. What a lovely way to spend an apparent afternoon. Really nice. I was probably going to do more of these. Maybe if I can fit them in over the summer, as I said, give people a bit more notice, and see what happens. But yeah, trying to think now. Let's push my agendas out there. Brussels on the weekend, and I'll open up the virtual. I don't think I have the links up. I'll put them up today for Brussels. You can join on the Saturday and Sunday. Sunday will be a little bit earlier than Saturday, and then I'll do some virtual thing in August. Oh yeah, I'm going to this dance camp, the Dance Camp East, next week, and it's a dance festival in Suffolk in England. They invited me over, so they want me to just play music as well. I don't know how that's going to go. I think I'll do my meeting. I might sing one of my songs at the end. Anyone interested, just I'll give you the link. But if it's Dance Camp East, if you Google it. So
What's the dates of that, Kenneth?
it's a week-long thing that goes from the 20th. I'm going to be there on the Monday and the Tuesday. So let me pull up the calendar here.
This is next week.
Basically next week, yeah. It's yeah, I really it was very last minute and I didn't get it out there. Now I should have got an email out last week, but it's only kind of firmed up last week. So Monday the 22nd, 23rd. So I know I kind of realize it's way too late for anyone anyway, so that's why I didn't really get it out there. But I
I
think,
can, yeah, I
sorry,
can get, yeah, I'd be interested in going to that.
would you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too far from me.
Did you Google it there? Did you see it?
No, I haven't.
Suffolk, yeah. Yeah, just if you have any trouble, Richard, just send me an email. I'll give you the details.
Thank you, then.
Yeah, I'm not sure about because I'm just rocking up and doing it. I'm not sure, but it'll be all the details will be on their website as to what you got to do to. It's like a camp thing, you know. So I presume you've got a tent or else camper van or something. And I think there would still be tickets. I don't think it's sold out or anything. Anyway, and then what we have, Vietnam is the big thing in October. That'll be great. And September, I'm going to try and do London is the other one. Munich in November. So there you go. I need to get snappier with this and get them all out there. Thanks, guys. Really nice to see you.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Thanks,
Right.
Ron.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right,
You're right,
Richard,
Rich.
see
Thanks, Kenneth.
you.
You're right,
All
Rich.
right, there's
Thanks,
JP.
Kenneth. Yeah, nice to see you, Ryan.
Yeah. All
You
right.
too, mate.
All right. See you, Laura.
Take care,
Thanks.
guys.
JP. Everybody.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks,
Laura.
guys. See you.
Laurie,
Bye.
Thanks.